There's an insidious quirk to your brain that, if you let it, will drive you absolutely batty. You get anxious about confronting somebody in your life. That anxiety starts to cripple you and you become more anxious. Now look at you. You're anxious about being anxious. Oh no, you're doubly anxious. Now your anxiety is causing more anxiety. Quick, where's the whiskey? Or let's say you have an anger problem. You get pissed off at the stupidest, most insane shit, and you have no idea why. And the fact that you get pissed off so easily starts to piss you off even more. And then, in your petty rage, you realize that being angry all the time makes you a mean and shallow person. Now look at you. You're angry about getting angry about being angry. Fuck you all, here's a fist. Welcome to the feedback loop from hell. According to the National Association of Student Personnel Administrators, imposter syndrome causes first-generation college students to doubt their own abilities, generate additional anxiety, and a fear of being a fraud. This is imposter syndrome, a fear of not belonging. I am a first-generation college student, and I have felt this dramatically throughout my education. According to Best Colleges in 2022, more than a quarter of first-gen students drop out within their first year, and 90% drop out within 6 years without a degree. Mark Manson describes in his book A Solution to Imposter Syndrome by teaching us how to focus less on some things and care more about others. The Subtle Art of How Not to Give a Fuck by Mark Manson. Believe it or not, this is part of the beauty of being human. Very few animals on Earth have the ability to think cogent thoughts, where we humans have the ability to have thoughts about our thoughts. So I can think about watching Miley Cyrus videos on YouTube, while simultaneously thinking what a sicko I am for wanting to watch Miley Cyrus videos on YouTube. The miracle of consciousness. Now here's the problem. Through the wonders of our society today, through the wonders of consumer culture and the, hey, look, my life is cooler than yours, social media has bred a whole new generation of people who believe that having any negative emotion, guilt, fear, anxiety, is just not okay. I mean, if you look at your Facebook feed, everybody there seems to be having a fucking grand old time. I mean, look, 8 people got married this week. Look, some 16-year-old got a Ferrari for her birthday on TV. Meanwhile, you're stuck at home, flossing your cat. The feedback loop from hell has become a borderline epidemic, making many of us overly stressed, overly neurotic, and overly self-loathing. This is why not giving a fuck is so key. This is why it's going to save the world. And it's going to save the world by realizing that the world is totally fucked. And that's okay. Because it always has been, and it always will be. By not giving a fuck that you feel bad, you short-circuit the feedback loop from hell. You say to yourself, I feel like shit today, but I don't give a fuck. And then, as if sprinkled by magic fucking giving fairy dust, you stop hating yourself for feeling so bad. Here's the thing that's wrong with all those how to be happy shit that's been shared 8 million times on your Facebook feed. Here's what nobody realizes about all this crap. The desire for a more positive experience is itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience. It's what Alan Watts used to refer to as the backwards law. That the more that you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more you desperately want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually have. The more you want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, no matter your physical appearance. The more you want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those that surround you. Everything worthwhile is won through the surmounting negative experience. Any attempt to escape the pain, to avoid it, to quash it, or silence it only backfires. Pain is a thread in the fabric of life, and to tear it out is destructive. To try to avoid the pain is to give too many fucks about the pain. But in contrast, if you're able to accept the pain, you become unstoppable. For me, quitting my day job in finance after only 6 weeks and starting my own internet business ranks pretty high up there in my how not to give a fuck hall of fame, along with selling most of my possessions and moving to South America. Fucks given? None. I just went and did it. Those moments of non-fuckery are the moments that most define our lives. The major switch in careers, the decision to drop out of college and join a rock band, that decision to finally dump that dead ex-beat boyfriend of yours. To not give a fuck is to stare down at life's most terrifying and difficult challenges and still take action. While not giving a fuck may seem simple on the surface, it's a whole new bag of burritos under the hood. I don't know what that sentence means, but I don't give a fuck. There's a subtle art to not giving a fuck. What I'm talking about here is essentially learning how to focus your fucks and prioritize your thoughts effectively. How to pick and choose what matters to you and what doesn't matter to you based on finely honed personal values. This is incredibly difficult, and it takes a lifetime of practice to achieve, and you will regularly fail. But it is perhaps the most worthwhile struggle one can undertake in one's life. Because when you give too many fucks, when you give a fuck about the pain, when you give a fuck about everyone and everything, you will think that you are perpetually entitled to be comfortable and happy at all times, and is everything exactly the way you fucking want it to be. This is a sickness, and it will eat you alive. You will see every adversity as injustice, every challenge as a failure, every disagreement as betrayal, every inconvenience as a personal slight. You will be confined to your own petty, skull-sized hell, running circles around your very own feedback loop from hell. You're gonna die one day. I know that's kind of obvious, but I just thought I would remind you in case you had forgotten. And the short amount of time we have between here and there, you have a limited amount of fucks to give. Very few, in fact. And if you go around giving a fuck about everyone and everything, you are going to, without a conscious thought or a choice, well, then you're gonna get fucked. In my life, I've given a fuck about a lot of things. But I've also not given a fuck about a lot of things. And like the road not taken, the fuck's not given, that made all the difference.